My brother asked me if I would ever play Power World, a let's just say Pokemon-like game that is a little bit controversial and came out. I don't know if it was this year or last year, recent times. Let's put it that way. I said no, I don't think so. Like the Pokemon with guns thing doesn't appeal to me, and I think in general, like if I was gonna play a Pokemon ripoff or a Pokemon-like game, it wouldn't be new Pokemon, right? Like that isn't what I want. A different type of new open world ninth gen style Pokemon game. I think I'd want an old school one. Like there were definitely Pokemon knockoffs back in the day, but they never like went anywhere, never got to any sort of success. And I know Dragon Warrior has something that's kind of like that, but I think I would like a new old school Pokemon game. And frankly, I think Nintendo slash Game Freak should make a new old school style Pokemon game. I think there's a market for it. I think it's not going to sell as well as the mainline Pokemon games, but I would probably buy a old school 2D Pokemon game. What old school elements would I want though? I think that's what's happened a lot to me this year is I've kind of like been chasing that feeling of the old school Pokemon, whether it was playing like a Dungeons and Dragons style make it up as you go Pokemon RPG in my basement with my brother and the neighbor kid, or just like how the old cards felt playing, or the old games like with the Nuzlocke challenge I've been doing with Pokemon Fire Red. Like I'm kind of chasing that old school feeling, but I think for me, probably it's like third and fourth gen is like what I'm going for. That's like kind of my sweet spot. Fifth gen was fun. It's something that like a lot of people look back on fondly, but the plot of that game was something different. I don't know if that's the type I want, but I guess what I would want would be 2D. First of all, that's a big demarcation from newer styles of Pokemon and older styles. I wouldn't want there to be the gimmick stuff, so no. Um, I want to call them super Pokemon, Mega Pokemon, no Mega Evolutions. Is that what they're called? Yeah, no Mega Evolutions, no Crystal stuff, no Z moves, nothing like that. So take those away. Don't do anything with that. I want Pokemon that's 2D, where they can hold an item, where there is a where there is not a type-based physical and special split. Like I think I appreciated when they started doing that. I think it made a lot more Pokemon viable and made it so that you could have a Pokemon be a strong attacking Pokemon, but also a water Pokemon, and have that not be a disadvantage. Um, I think I would want that. Oh God, what would I want with the typings? That is a good question. Because old school Pokemon has different typings than new school Pokemon. There's no fairy Pokemon, so dragons are still kind of a kind of an unchecked thing. Steel is better defensively. Poison still doesn't have enough to do. That is a good question. I think my gut would be no fairy types. Yes, steel and dark. Yeah, I think I would do that. I would definitely make sure they had like decent enough moves. So like, the bug Pokemon problem earlier on of not having any decent moves, or ghost Pokemon not having any decent moves. I think I would want them to have access to that decent move pool. Of course, if you're designing a new old school Pokemon game, does that mean you make new Pokemon or you just reuse the older school Pokemon? I would do new Pokemon. I think I would do new Pokemon. Maybe that means that, oh God, would you have a this means that you would have Pokemon and new Pokemon that weren't necessarily in a 10th generation or whatever. You'd have like generations being split. But I would argue they're starting to do that anyway, where I look up and someone is using a Pokemon in a competitive, like Pokemon multiplayer game, and I don't recognize it. Like I'm like, what is that? Is that a Pokemon that originated in um, Arceus, the Arceus game? Is that a Pokemon that originated in DLC content for some of the new games? Is that a future version of a Pokemon that already exists? Like I think they're already muddying the water a lot with forms and regional variants and everything else. So I would be comfortable with like a retro style Pokemon being spun from out of thin air to be in a new retro Pokemon game. Like I wouldn't hate that idea. I guess on that experience share, it's one item, right? It's one item that you could stick on a Pokemon. It's not a switch that you can toggle on and off, or can't toggle at all. Like I would have experience share certainly be an item, and for that matter, if you're gonna make this old school Pokemon game, this new old school Pokemon game, um, make it Nuzlocke compatible. Wouldn't that be fun? Wouldn't it be fun to have a game designed to be part of the Nuzlocke format? I'm sure somebody might pop up and be like, "Well, they designed Sun and Moon or whatever to be in the Nuzlocke format." And I'd be like, "Yeah, I don't know if I believe that, but that would be cool to open up to that, and that might actually get some buzz and get some interest from certain parts of the Pokemon fandom." I think that's I think that's what I'm looking for. An old school Pokemon game that's new. It's got a new map. You don't know what all the gym leaders are. You don't know what's coming up. And I think if they wanted to make some money, they could do that. It doesn't have to involve all the developmental resources that these new Pokemon games need with their 3D maps and their 3D sprite. Or I don't know if sprite is the right word. The 3D models and the whole overworld. Like, surely you could make a retro Pokemon game with a small staff. Maybe you could have it be something that's attached to a Pokemon based Nintendo Online expansion. Maybe it's the crown jewel of said expansion. Maybe that's the thing that makes people pay for it. Like, I've talked myself into that one. Uh, hmm. Call it, I don't know, some kind of gemstones that haven't been used already. That would, I think, communicate the sort of uh, the sort of route you're taking with that. I don't think they'd ever do it. They probably see more money in new Pokemon games that come out in the new style, but I think there's an untapped market for what I described.